You're listening to the Weird Girls Club podcast
with your hosts, Nave and Amy.
Hi, we're back for another episode of the Weird Girls Club podcast.
We're back. Guess who's back? I don't know what I was saying there. We're gonna do another Am I the Asshole episode.
Am I
you can
the
probably tell by the title.
You were going title and I was going asshole. But yeah, we have some. We're gonna dive straight in.
Yeah, we're just get the ball rolling on them.
Because this is a pretty long one actually.
Oh, lovely. I mean,
This isn't even charged on my phone.
It's not plugged in anymore.
What?
Oh, it's plugged into the other thing.
No, it is plugged in.
Oh,
But it wasn't charged.
weird.
Anyway, let's go. Am I the asshole for leaving the restaurant before my boyfriend's family arrived after I was told I was going to pay for their meals?
Okay.
I, female 29, have been dating my boyfriend, male 35 Ricky, for 5 months. He's divorced but hates this word and goes with the word divorcee instead, since the first one makes it sound like he was dumped when it was him who initiated it. Anyways, he always goes this is wrong. He always go on long rants about his exes and say stuff like, I hope you don't have this awful habit my ex has, or I hope you like XYZ because my ex didn't. And the list goes on. I found a second job recently and he's been having me pay every time we go out. When I protest, he'd say he's going through a rough patch and he's seeing how much help I can offer. Last night he invited his family to join us for dinner. We got to the restaurant first. He asked me if I brought enough money. I said why, and he told me that he told his parents that I'd pay for their meals. I said why would I, and he went on about his parents going through a rough patch just like him. I said I'm sorry, this can't be a coincidence. He asked what I meant and I told him that I would not be paying. He insisted. I refused and said no. He then leaned back and said, well, you're here, so not much of a choice you have anyway, while laughing like it was funny. I silently got up, took my phone and my purse and walked right out. He was shocked. He started shouting after me to stop and wait, but I didn't. I went home and he called me in rage, saying that I did a horrible thing walking out on him and his parents, while I could have just paid. I told him that their unfortunate financial situation isn't my problem and that I wasn't obligated to pay for their food. If they couldn't pay for their meals, then they should not go out. He got offended, and said, and I quote, "You're making money a priority just like my ex did." Then went on about how disrespectful my attitude was and how I made him look small in front of his parents and forced him to lie about why I wasn't there when they came. We've been going back and forth about it till now. He's mad and is refusing to speak to me till I apologise. Am I the asshole? I feel bad because his parents are lovely and I been doing my best to keep a good relationship with them. But am I the asshole?
No, you need to dump him. He's an absolute bum.
Yeah, he's a fucking mooch. Like, get away from him. He is a moocher, absolute biggest moocher. Like, sorry, so you walked away and it sounds like they still had a meal.
Yeah, how'd they pay for the dinner then?
Yeah, how'd they pay? Please enlighten us, comment, please let us
know. You should work 2 jobs so your boyfriend and his family can go out and have dinner at home done.
Yeah,
have a pot.
Like, I'm not being bad. Like, even if I was offered out to dinner by someone, like, I wouldn't be going empty handed. Like, I'd always make sure I had money in case something happened. And like, if they were like, oh no, come out for dinner, like, it's on us, that's different. I'd still make sure I had money to pay for it if fucking shit like went belly up. Like, you wouldn't go on a holiday with no money, so I would just go out with no money.
And sorry, he's like the biggest child ever, doesn't like the word divorced. Yeah, because it's small man syndrome. He was clearly
small
dumped.
Dick
if his ex had the same issues you have, making money priority. Sorry, no, you need money to survive. Unfortunately, money does make the world go round.
Money's not a priority, but money is a priority when it's always one-sided.
Yeah,
that's like, what makes it.
If you're living without your living beyond your means, and you can't afford to eat out, then you shouldn't be going out to eat, depending on like someone to always pay for you. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, hence why you have like an ex-hon, because clearly she was being left to pay for everything.
Yeah, he's just going to circle like through everybody.
If money
else
isn't important, then fork it up. Then why can't he fork some up? Then if money isn't important, like if money's not, it shouldn't be a priority.
Yeah, no. And what now that you have a second job, so you have to work 2 jobs just to pay for him all the time? No, I don't think so. Literally,
no,
move on.
It doesn't work like that. Like, no, run. He's literally just gonna bleed you dry.
Yeah, if you're going through a tough patch, I'm sorry, but you can't afford to go out and eat it. You eat your food at home.
Like, I'm not even being bad, right? So say he's not working, right? Just say, for example, he's not
like,
working.
it happens.
And he's relying on her. That's not up to you to invite your parents to a meal and say your other half's going to pay for that meal when you're literally bumming off your other half as well. Like, that's not...
And like,
that should not be you doing that. Like, that's not your money to be spending.
And that's the thing. So like, it'd be a different story if you said, oh look, like, I'd love to bring my parents out, is there any way like you can lend me money or whatever to bring them around. Don't just throw it on me when we're sitting at the table a few minutes away from your parents arriving that you expect me to pay for 4 grown adults to eat. Yeah, like, just telling our dear and Dan was totally wrong as well.
If I wanted to pay for 4 people, I'd have fucking 2 kids. Like.
Yeah, no, sorry, you need to dump him.
No, run. Like, I hate, do you know what, I fucking hate stingy people.
Yeah, stingy moochers.
Yeah, moochers, not even stingy, more like moochers. Like, but I do hate stingy people as well. I know people that are real tight with money, like, bleeding hell. They're nearly bleeding. Only short of fucking, like. They're only short of using face cloths to wipe the hole, like. It's because you re-washed them. Like, I don't like people like that, but I also don't like moochers. Like,
yeah,
no. Sorry, run. We'll jump into the next one. Are we ready? I thought I was going to go into the Zoe 101 song there.
Are you ready?
Ooh. The synchronization was on point. Right. Am I the asshole for saying that it is fucking weird that my ex-wife's newborn has my last name? I was married to my ex for 7 years until we divorced and went our separate ways 4 years ago. After the divorce, she kept my surname. I didn't necessarily like it because it felt like she was still attaching herself to my family, but I could understand the practical reasons enough not to let it bother me. She recently gave birth to a baby and posted a picture and said child and revealed its name. A friend sent it to me commenting about the surname and asking if I knocked her up. Following that, 4 more people directly contacted me, either congratulating me or asking for confirmation whether it's my child or not. And my mother says she's been catching whispers about it too at church. I bumped into her and her sister in town and obviously congratulated her, then asked about the kid's name. She said the name. I asked about the surname and she confirmed the child's legal surname is obviously XYZ, mine, and asked if it was a problem. Now that pissed me off. My surname is very unique, especially in the area since my family is not originally from here. So when people hear the surname, they naturally think of my family and assume that this is my kid, and it fucking isn't. Worse, the father is apparently in the picture, so I don't know what the fuck is going on there. I straight up said that it was fucking weird that she's given her newborn the surname of the man she divorced from, who isn't in any way linked to the kid and sounds almost obsessive. She said she gave her daughter her surname as the mother and not mine. Am I the asshole? Edit. I have no children with her. She has one other child apart from this, who she had previously. Saw this being asked in the comments, so there's the answer. But anyway, am I the asshole?
That is some fucking soap drama weird shit. Like, what?
It's very weird. What? Very weird.
What is going on with the father of that baby? That, like, sorry.
So let's debunk the whole thing. So they were divorced. They're not divorced. Or they're divorced.
They were divorced or not divorced.
Right. So they're married and they're divorced, and she obviously.
She didn't change her name back to her maiden name.
Yeah. So she kept it. So like Tina Turner.
It's different when you're Tina Turner though. Like,
well, hello, she kept her husband's name that would be.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is it's different when you're Tina Turner because it's a brand more than it is your name. Like, legally, our name probably isn't Tina Turner,
it
but
is
our
Tina
show.
Turner.
No, but what
she
I'm
was
saying.
Married to Ike Turner.
I know that's our name, but I'm saying now. That's our stage name. When you're that famous, you're not going to change your name. Like Cheryl Cole, she was about to change it to Cheryl Tweedy, and then it's like, everyone still call her Cheryl Cole. Or like,
didn't she change it to some French name? She was married to a French man and she changed it.
She changed it again, but everyone still calls her Cheryl Cole.
Yeah,
and that's what
she's known
like
for.
that's the thing. So like I kind of get it when you're famous and you keep your show name as an ex's name, whatever, because that's the brand you've built up. Everybody knows you by that name. They're not gonna just change it now.
It's like Jacqueline Hill.
Yeah.
She's divorced, but like obviously her brand is Jacqueline
so that's
Hill.
something I get it from that standpoint. But like, sorry, but as an average Joe, like why would you?
It's a bit strange.
Yeah,
it's a bit strange. Now I don't like. I think I'd change my name back.
Yeah, I would too.
Unless I really hate my last name, but then the
I'd probably
Roger Oyster then change to something.
Something else. Because it just seems weird to have like your new kid then associated with that name, because then like your other kid didn't get like your other.
Hold on, what does this new baby daddy think?
That's what I was thinking. Like that's the weirdest part, that he was like, yeah, you just give that child your ex's name, because then you'd be thinking, oh, did they have an affair? Are they still sleeping together? Is this even my kid? Like,
it's very strange.
That's very strange.
I don't think he's the asshole though. I don't think so. I think because he's in a small town, I would think it like. Because it's bothering him and he's getting so many questions about it. I don't blame him being like, she asked him, is it weird? And he's like, yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, don't ask me after you've bleeding legally signed the documents and put on his birth
like
cert.
You're already basically like, why are you asking me if it's weird? Like you didn't ask me before you named the kid. Like why are you asking me now if it's weird and you can't do anything about it?
And he already told her when they divorced that he found it slightly weird, but it wasn't too bothered that she was keeping the name. So how did she think he was going to react?
I think he was just like, oh, I don't care if she keeps the name, because a lot of people do, because it's just like, you have to change passports and all that. Like it's so much to change, but like you don't have to name your kid that. Like,
yeah, but the thing is, right, the excuse of her what she had said was, oh, like I just gave her my name because like it's my name now, like the same name as the man. She has another kid that doesn't have that last name,
and she also has a new fella. She had 3 names to pick from: her maiden name, the baby daddy's name, and her court name. She went with the wrong one.
Yeah, wrong one. 3 strikes you out.
So what's gonna happen if you marry the baby daddy and you take his name? So your kid's gonna your 2 kids have 2 separate names, and you have a different name than your 2 kids.
Oh, that's just fucked up. But no, I think it's just a bit fucked up, especially that she didn't say it. Like, and when you're in like a small area like that, it's not like as if she's moved to like the other side of the world or a completely different country, and you just don't know if it's like that, and everyone's gossiping about it, because then everyone's gonna be running with rumors that like they were sleeping together and that maybe it is his baby and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's just weird.
Oh my god, I think this is the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
What did I do that one?
Well, it's not Am I the Asshole. It's just the whole thing.
So
do you want me to read it? Because I kind of know the story.
Yeah, do you want to read it?
I don't know what I was doing with my handy. So I had saw this on TikTok, someone else reading this story. It's actually not like an Am I the Asshole? I don't think. No, it's not.
It's more like a story.
But I don't know if you know the whole story.
I only know bits of it. I don't know all the ins.
Yeah.
That's too long.
So we're going to read it. We're going to
to
read it and see what you think. Let us know your opinions and let us know where you think this is going to go, this story.
Okay.
Because
I'm intrigued.
Right. So the heading is... My 29 female... I hate the way they say my. It always fucks me up.
Why?
It should be like me 29 female and my husband. Right. So me 29 female and husband 31 male got opportunity. Oh no, yeah. That's why did you say my?
What?
I hate reading. Never mind. I'm starting again.
Take 2.
The daughter is a 29 female and a husband 39 male got a paternity test on her daughter 5 female and it came back negative, but I never cheated and now he thinks our relationship is a lie and wants to divorce. What do I do? I don't know how it happened and I haven't been able to stop crying all day. I never cheated. I love my husband. We've been together since college and he's the love of my life. He's handsome and kind, and while I've slept with 2 other people, both were before we got together. There is no other potential father for her daughter. We were married already and actively trying for a baby. I never cheated, I never would cheat, and I don't know why he took the stupid test because I never would ever cheat. Little mistake, but anyways. But it came back negative and now he thinks He's not the dad of our daughter. I don't know how to convince him it was all a faulty test, and I'm so scared. The past few months, it's like he's become someone completely different. From the man I married, he's cold and suspicious. He kept demanding to see my phone and wouldn't tell me why. And I showed him at first, but eventually told him I wouldn't anymore unless he explained why. He's been distant with our daughter too. He stays in his office for hours on end, and I don't know what he's doing in there. I did not cheat. He accused me of this morning, saying he'd done the test after realising that our daughter's eyes were brown, wouldn't naturally come from ours both blue, and that he'd wanted me to get out of the house. I didn't leave, and he locked me out of our bedroom, and now I'm in my daughter's room. This is terrifying. What should I do? Edit. The specific advice I want is how I can prove I'm innocent and how to make sure this relationship works. I want to keep my family together at all costs. Also, I just had a conversation with my husband. He's out of his room now, and we discussed some things. I told him again that I would never cheat and started talking about a list I made of tests I wanted done. But he's told me that he didn't want to hear it right now. We're going to have a longer conversation tomorrow, and he said that he still loves our daughter and that he won't try to keep me out of the house or our room for now. I asked him. I know it's like for now. Your time's limited. I asked him to hug me, and he did. I'm scared that I won't be able to convince him. I just want our family to go back to normal. How can I be a good wife and support his needs while proving my innocence? I don't know what that means. TLDR? Or I think she just put the heading again. Never mind. Sorry, that like confused me there. So, do you know what the, like, okay, so Niamh knows, so she can't guess. But
well, no, I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know if this is the actual answer.
You don't know if it's the actual, right. So, in the comments, I'm gonna, either if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're seeing the TikTok clip, I want people to guess where, because there is a long update, where this is going.
Or you have a feeling where it's going.
What do you think?
The baby was switched around the hospital.
Switcheroo? Like,
mixed up, wrong child taken. That has to be. If she's proclaiming her innocence and he's not the dad, then she had to be mixed up in the hospital. She had to be. Thinking? That's what I'm sticking with. If she's saying that she is innocent and she did not cheat, that's the only. What's your explanation? Do you not think like he could have like how did he get her hair? What? Or like bring her to the shop and take her fucking wrong child back with him?
No, but like when I was first listening to it, I was like maybe like did he like take a hair out of a hairbrush or something, like how, because we don't know exactly what type of test he done. Like, did he send like a cousin's hair or something? Like, that's where I first went with it.
Yeah, I completely went, maybe I'm watching too much Bleeding Hallmark movies or so. I don't know, fucking true movies. Sorry, or something. Contact's gone funny. I think it's whopperoo. Right, I'm gonna read the update now. Oh, is this the answer? Yeah, so you'll actually find out this is not an unsolved mystery. Well, but anyways, update. Ow, sorry, my contact's gone funny. We're all bleeding in bits here. I'm fucking marking my face off the mic.
Hi everyone. First off, I wanted to thank everyone who reached out. My original post got so much attention, it was hard to get everything, but I ended up making a list of plans and tests I wanted to get done. My husband was understandably distrustful of me for a while, but he apologized for the way he acted, which I didn't need. He said that he wouldn't try to kick me out of our home. He did say though that if every test came and I cheated, then he would go he was going to go scorch the earth. Okay. We did a few tests, blood paternity tests for him and me and our daughter. We had an appointment with the chimerism specialist. I don't know, CHIMERISM. Is that meant to be like chromocism? I don't know. Some specialist, I imagine. Anyways, coming up, but that got cancelled because, well, some of you guessed it, but my daughter's not biologically mine either. Yes. I don't know how this happened, but a police officer came to her house and took her statements, and we're suing the hospital where I gave birth. I don't know what happened to my baby, and that is terrifying. I have my husband back, but my whole world was still upended. And I just wish he'd never taken that stupid test. I've been sleeping in my daughter's room and I'm so afraid that she's going to be taken away from me. But at the same time, I want to know where my biological daughter is and if she's okay. I pray to God she's okay. Oh my God, this is emotional. My daughter still doesn't know the details and we've been trying to keep this quiet. The last thing we need is a big scandal. I don't want people who know us to look at her differently. She deserves better than that. She's such a good kid and she's not some... What? Oh. She's a good kid and she's not some spectacle to be gawked at. If we can't find her birth family, I have no idea what we'll do. I guess the best case scenario would be to get a bigger house and all live together. But I don't know if we can afford that. Or if they'd go for that. Or even if we'll be able to locate them. Or I'm just crazy. This whole situation is crazy. I don't know anyone else who's been in this situation. I mean, are there support groups for parents whose kids have gotten mixed up? I googled and nothing came up. Literally all I'm getting are tabloid articles from trashy magazines that slap the faces of innocent kids on the same pages as celebrities, sex scandals and fiction. How do we tell our daughter? I mean, we can't tell her now. She'll tell the kids at school and then it'll be everywhere. But we have to say something. I don't know what I ever did to deserve this. Yeah. There is also extra stuff, but I don't know if you want to debrief.
I think we should debrief.
Debrief that for a minute because there is like
So I actually
thing.
guessed right.
So you did guess right, yeah.
God, that's hard.
What would you do?
Well, oh Jesus, you wish you was cheating, wouldn't you?
It's a much simpler thing, yeah. Literally.
Because like you've been raising a kid that's not yours.
Mm-hmm.
Your child is out there in the world. You don't know what conditions they're in. You don't even know if they have a man there or they like.
The thing is, like, what creates the bond and love you have for a kid? It growing in, like, the pregnancy for a woman is obviously a big part of like becoming a man, like the feeling of everything that you go through and physically giving birth. But I feel like for a father, your bond is only created after the kid's born. And then growing up with the kid was 5, so they've spent 5 years raising their daughter to find out biologically it's not yours. It's
so hard because technically she's your child no matter what. Then the wonder of like, well, my flesh and blood is actually...
Yeah, the child I felt kicked for the first time, heard the first heartbeat, was getting the ultrasounds, finding out the gender...
That came out of me.
Who picked the clothes for, who you painted the bedroom for, yet you still have all them memories with the child you've raised, but you don't have them memories with the child you grew inside you and actually, like, is biologically yours.
Yeah, and you're not just going to give up, like, a 5-year-old.
No.
After raising them, like, so how does that work? Like, what, like, there has to be something then again, I don't think there's a manual on how you handle this situation. No. I think it has to be the two families kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
What do? Do you move closer to each other? Do you, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Are you ever going to tell the kids, like, well, technically they're your parents, but you live with me? Vice versa. Like, do you tell them? Do you not tell them? Like, what?
Because, sorry.
Or do you just go about being oblivious? But I don't think deep down I don't think you could.
Because you'd
want to be oblivious for the kids, but you couldn't for yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing, because
you just wouldn't want to put the kids through the confusion of it.
What would get to me is, right, you know the life the child you've raised is living. Like, obviously we don't know these people, but let's just say they had a good marriage up until this point, right? Until he done that test, whatever. They've had a good life, they've had good household, whatever. But in the back of your mind, you're wondering, is the child you gave birth to safe?
Yeah.
Because not every household is safe. Not every home that a child is in is a safe household or is actually cared for. So imagine in the back of your head, you know, my biological child is out there and I actually don't know if they're safe.
Or if she's even
they're
alive.
healthy or alive. Yeah. Like, you don't know. And then the thing is, right, let's say you do reach out to the hospital and you say the other switch, they figure out who it was, you find out, touch wood, this isn't happening, I'm just saying scenario, that sadly that child did pass at some stage. Who has the rights to the child you raised? The people who lost the daughter, they raised but biologically gave birth to your child.
Was there a Law and Order episode on this?
I have no idea. I just thought of this in my head. Like, what happened?
There was a Law and Order, but I can't remember. This is like sparking something in me, like an episode of Law and Order.
There was an episode of Law and Order where a kid got kidnapped because the ma thought it was her son, but it wasn't. She was just going a bit loop because her son went missing or died years ago. Because they done a paternity test and it wasn't a kid.
That one, yeah.
Or did they do paternity?
No, I think there is one where there was a switcheroo, but I think
but one of the kids did die or something.
Well, yeah, one of them did die, and then it was like the whole court. I remember the court scene. It was like,
well, dead right. It's one of the earlier seasons.
Like, who has the right?
Yeah.
Do the biological parents have the right, or do the people
who have raised and
who are raised and are signed on that child's birth cert?
Yeah.
So they're technically the guardians. Mm-hmm. They're the parents.
Yeah, they've been the legal guardians for like however many years now. Yeah.
But does that get abolished when they discover that they're not the biological parents?
Because I mean, your guardian.
But if you were the biological parents, right, and you found out that your child was alive but was living with another family, and their child died, and it's 5 years later, could you take that child out of their comfort zone and out of what they believe is their parents? Like, you can't think of yourself, you have to think of what's best for the kid in that situation. I don't think, like, I'm saying now, but see, I'm not a parent, so I don't know.
I was just about to say, it's hard to say because you don't know what a grieving mother would go through, especially five is so young. If that other child, like, touch wood, obviously we're just hypothetically, if something had happened and they're still so young like that, you would be so heartbroken that you don't know what the grief would do to you in a way,
because you just want another kid, like.
Yeah, so I don't know, because you do want to have them back.
I just don't think you can, if you lost a kid, even if it wasn't yours but you thought it was yours, I don't think you can just take another kid to replace the gap.
Morally right now, while I'm not in that situation, I do think,
but like, at the end of the day, you have to put your emotions aside and think of the kid, like, and that kid's parents are the ones that have raised it so far.
But then it's also a double-edged sword, with the same way that family might think, oh, is that child in a safe environment? You might be like, well, the child I raised passed, but my biological child's in a house that I don't know what's going on behind closed doors either. What if they weren't in a healthy situation? I just always think of that. I'm like, it's a double-edged sword then.
Yeah,
I guess I would reach out 100%.
I think they'd have to like work together and be like, I'm not going to stop you from saying like technically your biological child, but I think we just need to keep it watered down right now. Like, you can't be confused, and the child being like, they're your parents, but I'm really your parents. Like, I think that they're too young. It's too confusing. Like, I think they should be involved in each other's life, and then when she is at an age, then they can be like, right, well, this is your story, your unique fucking story, and you're so lucky, like, you have 4 parents.
Yeah,
you'll never, like, not a lot of kids get 4 parents. No. Some kids are lucky to get 1 parent. So, like, out of all the situations, that would be the best, that then you could coexist with each other. And it's like very hard to like, where do you draw the line?
And not everyone thinks the same. Like, if someone was trying for ages to have a kid, or whatever the circumstances, and then they find out biologically their kid had passed, or that their kids were swapped, or whatever it is, like, it's
very complex.
That was also in Desperate Housewives in the late, like, one of the last seasons. Gabriella finds out that her daughters were switched at birth.
The younger one?
The oldest.
Oh, Demi Lovato's sister.
Yeah, that was older. But I'll read there's like another bit, and it's like the husband's explanation of like why he did
it was a bit random, like
the DNA test.
Enlighten us.
So, another update. Hello everyone. So apparently a YouTuber my husband watches called Mark Narrations decided that it would be a fun idea to read my post on his channel. My husband recognised the story because, well, of course he recognised the story. How could he not? This doesn't happen every day. And then he went on to my account page, found it, and quite a few comments about him that were not exactly nice. And now he's asked me for a chance to post his side of the story on this account so that people stop trashing him and please be nice. Okay. This is a long one. So, I feel like I just spat my lip.
Lovely.
Lovely. So I don't know how many of you have been down a self-doubt rabbit hole before, but it's not the most logical place to be. It's even less logical when you have a whole damn internet telling you that your wife is cheating and that she's planning to take the house and take you for all you're worth and never really loved you. And you always sort of thought she was too good for you anyway. So you end up seeing everything as a sign of infidelity. And then you go and get not one, but 2 failed paternity tests on your daughter. When COVID happened, I got fat, I got depressed, I stopped feeling like a person. My wife stayed beautiful, she stayed herself. I was sure that she had made a mistake, so that she'd regret being with me. I started getting into some online groups, especially on Reddit, that were full of guys who'd been cheated on, lost custody, lost everything. And when someone said that his tip off was that he and his wife both had blue eyes and their son had brown, I felt fucking stupid. I did not want to jump to conclusions, but when I made a post about my fears, everyone said that she was cheating. People said to say nothing because she'd used it to hide her cheating and get ahead of me on the divorce. So I got the test and didn't really think it'd come back negative when it did. I didn't want to believe it, but yeah, I pulled back. I felt betrayed. I wanted to be a good husband, but I couldn't shake this. I tried to find evidence of an affair and failed. I got another test when that one was also negative. I snapped. If you've ever been cheated on, you know what it feels like. When my wife denied it, I got angrier. I just wanted to leave. I didn't want to go through what everyone seemed to think was going to happen. I didn't want to lose custody of my kid. I didn't want to lose my house. I was scared and angry and I wanted the truth. I felt like if she couldn't even be honest with me, there was no getting past this. I took a few hours to calm down. When she came back with a list of tests to take, I tried to keep my cool. I tried to keep my cool for so long. I know I was in the wrong about the affair, but so was everyone else in my ear. That rant. My kid is genuinely not biologically mine. I didn't immediately consider switched at birth was an option. I've been through a messed up time, and I don't think getting angry one time because I thought my wife cheated and was lying about it makes me a monster. And then there's an extra little bit. Hi, it's fully faithful wife here again. I just want to say, 1, I agree that he is not a monster, an abuser, or anything of the sort. 2, I do not agree that he's fat. I love this man very much and I have for ages, and we are not going to let this situation break up our marriage. Thank you everyone for all your help.
Oh,
that was a cute.
That's cute.
But yeah, it is really hard, especially when COVID hit. I imagine a lot of people went through like really hard depressive periods, and a lot of people gained weight because they weren't active. You weren't allowed to leave your house. You weren't like allowed to do anything.
You're so restricted.
Like so many people would fall into that cycle of being at home, and it's just naturally when you're not active as much, you will gain weight. And then it's hard when you have people like that in your area that have been born by like previous partners. They have a negative outlook on relationships and they're quick to oh, this happened to me, so if that's happening to you, XYZ, blah blah. But hopefully he's out of his depression pit at the moment.
Yeah, that's so interesting though. Like, it's such a complex like situation. Like, there's no right or wrong. It's full of like emotions, and it's just there's no way to navigate it. Like, no one could give you advice on what to do and how to handle that type of situation because it's so rare. It's more of an emotional like journey that you have to kind of go on and figure it out yourself, like what you both collectively in your marriage can do, like or how to feel about things. And like, there's no right or wrong answer on how to feel. Like, you're just feeling what you're feeling. Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, but
it's
so complex. Like,
it's a hard one then, like, because obviously he done a return test and he came back negative, and it stirred up a whole lot of emotions. And
I think that's what was meant to happen though. Like, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in everything happening for a reason. So it's like, eventually they would have found out at one stage. And also it can be so dangerous if, God forbid, she needed like an operation or a blood transfer.
Yeah, or like,
and they would have found out then, like, oh, what is our blood type? It's this. And then they're like, oh, well, what are you? And then like, certain blood types can't have a certain blood type, like, baby. And that's sometimes how people do find out stuff like this happen. And then it would have been too late. It probably would have came out at some point or something. But it's good that like they can hopefully keep their marriage going strong, because there was no like infidelity at all, but it's
Yeah,
now
the
just a
trust is there, the
situation
trust
where
hasn't been broken.
how do you move on with either trying to get to know, like trying to locate your biological daughter and hoping that that family has a similar response to you, that you're open to coexisting together.
Did she
and stuff.
say that they're suing the hospital?
She did, yeah.
So I say they're going off a lot of advice from lawyers and stuff
Oh,
like that.
yeah, I'd say
So
so.
at least they'll have some guidance in right, this is what we need, like this is next step, like and kind of get some answers. I think not the unknown is worse.
Yeah, because the thing is, right, if she goes to the hospital, like they would have to look at every baby girl that was born that day, like within that time that would have been in that, like would have had the possibility of being switched. Like they will have to look at everyone, and then
I just don't understand how you can switch a baby.
But wasn't there someone that was like doing it purposely, like a nurse for years,
swapping out babies,
like,
and then not really have the tag on their ankles and stuff, like just taking them off and putting them on their ankles. Like people are sick, like honestly.
Yeah, like that's crazy. But I guess, right, if like we don't know what country they live in or where they are and what the hospital system is, like don't really take the baby to clean it, or if the baby was probably in like ICU or something, maybe it was birth or whatever it might have been, if she had got a section and it needed to go to ICU, then they wouldn't have had the baby instantly, and it could have been wrong name was wrote down, or the wrong tag, like that. I don't mean wrong tag as in like an animal, but like the wrong little bracelet label thing. That's all it takes, is one mistake for the wrong name to be put on a thing, like or it could have been that they had a similar last name, and it just so happened that like when they were giving the baby back, they gave the wrong one. You know, like if someone was like,
like it's not like you go to the shop and you pick up the wrong loaf of fucking
really
bread.
Pay
like
attention, yeah. But then that's gonna open a whole can of worms for that hospital. Like
they'll go into an investigation, and then they'll look into like all the nurses and the doctors, and they'll try see is there a pattern, like was a certain, like did this happen before, was that nurse on, was it that doctor, like were they on the same ones that got swapped, like
do you ever I wonder was
I ever swapped, but I look too much like me dad.
I was about to say, like, do you ever think anyone has ever gone their whole life like not known, like there's 2 kids out there potentially that were switched at birth and have grown up their whole life and just don't know. Like I feel like it's such a possibility.
I'd say 100%, 1,000%.
Yeah,
there's definitely people out there that were switched and they don't know that they were switched, and the parents probably don't know that they were switched.
Like that's crazy, isn't it?
If you were switched, would you want to find out? I don't think I would. I think if I was in, then again it depends on how I was brought.
Imagine you found out like they were a billionaire.
Like it depends on the situation I was brought up in. Like if I was brought up in like a loving home, or I had a good parents, or like if I was brought up in a shit home and I was
100%
like abused, or like God forbid, like and like that, you'd want to know who you're. So it depends on your situation.
I think that'd be still like I guess it's different than knowing and wanting to find the parents, or just not know at all. I guess not knowing at all, you're just like, what is it saying, like peace is blissful as peace, or whatever it is, like
ignorance is bliss.
Like if you don't know, it's never affecting your life in a way.
Because I think it's a double-edged sword. If you meet them and they're shit people, you're like, oh my god, they're my like they're flesh and blood. But then if you meet them and they're like great, you're like, oh my god, like they're my parents and I never got to, they didn't raise me. Like you'd be kind of hurt either way, because you either feel like you've lost out on so many years and all the things you probably could have had that you didn't get, like not like, I mean like emotionally and like affectionately, like, and then either if you were like shit people, you'd be like, ugh, like I regret even
forget you, like,
I regret even like wanting to know, like I'd rather I didn't know if years are pieces of shit, like, and then I'm your flesh and blood, like I'd rather not know.
I think the hardest thing would be if you did find out and you did want to meet them, that they were like they didn't want to do because they didn't know you, like
it's a fear of rejection as well, like
fear of
the unknown though, do you know what I mean? So either way it's a double-edged sword, like
it is,
you'd be hurt either way, kind of in a certain aspect, like you'd be probably happy in one situation but kind of hurt at the same time. There's a little bit of hurt in both situations.
Just all depends on like how it plays out. But if you were told that, would you want to like reach out to them?
It's hard, isn't it?
I definitely wouldn't be jumping the gun like, oh my god, yeah, let me get introduced them. It'd be like such an
and then you kind of want to know what your parents who have raised you think as well. Like will you be offended if I want to know?
Because like, yeah, because then what would you do if like imagine, right, they like you've been raised by your parents for 26 years, whatever,
27 years, and you don't need to keep reminding me how old I am.
Well, anyways, and you find out you've been switched at birth, and then you're like, we're just thinking about us now, right? Imagine your man that are like, what the fuck, I've raised like something that's not my kid, and like there's actually
they
so
just, like,
much
rejected you, like,
yeah,
completely.
there's so much there that then they're like, we want to find their biological daughter and stuff. Like, it's actually like realizing there's like so many people involved and tied to that situation, that how they can react.
Yeah,
like, yeah, no, that'd be
it's
so
not just
hard.
cookie cutter, like there's
No,
so many.
and what you want to do, like, I mean, if you didn't want to meet your biological parents because you only see the people who raised you as your parents, and then the people that raised you are like, well, we want to see your biological daughter, we want to know what she's like, we want to know, or he's like, or them,
I'll be
like,
like, yeah, you can find out that, but I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know the life I could have had, like, not blaming you, it's like it's no one's fault, obviously, but I don't want to know about
It's
the life
just-
I could, should have, would have, could have had. Because it wasn't the life I was dealt.
Because
so why look at something I never had? Like, I hate living in the shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I don't think I don't know if I'd necessarily look at it like I
But
missed
that's
it
what-
out in a way, because then if for me it's more how everyone else reacts. If that happened and I found out my man and I were kind of like so eager to meet the biological daughter, and we're like, oh my god, I can't believe this, like, that's my daughter, and just kept talking about like how that was their daughter, like, and this their daughter, you'd be so hurt. And then if the other people, like, I could never look at someone now, even if I found out biologically they were my parents, I could never look at them as my parents.
No.
Because I think it's being like who you're raised by.
Raised, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's normal emotion if you did meet the other parents or met the other for comparison. You'd be like, oh, well, you had this grant, oh, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Oh, you went there on oh, I never went on holidays. Or like vice versa, do you know what I mean? Like comparison, like, it's natural. It's completely natural, because you're looking at the life you could have had, like, that you won't have, and you won't have the memories of that life, and you won't have the experience of that life. So that's why I was kind of saying, like, if they did meet the other daughter, and obviously you probably wouldn't meet if they came to like family events and stuff, like, of course you would be, you'd be looking at her saying like, oh, fucking, like, shoulda, woulda, coulda, like, if they found out, or I was never swapped.
Yeah. You'd
I
be a
coulda-
totally different person though. I said you would have, like, you'd be a totally different person.
That's what I mean, like, but you'd probably be brought up in you'd obviously be brought up in completely different circumstances, good or bad.
Yeah.
You could be comparing them, and you're like, Jesus, like, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Or you could have had both similar, like, regular
That's
El
the thing,
Joe,
yeah,
like,
like-
lives.
Like, because I don't think there would be many situations where, like, unless they were like, let's say, like, mega rich, right? Like, I think that's the only thing that would be like, oh god, like, you had no, like,
You didn't have a pony.
like, if they were like mega rich and they did all these things and they like, and you're kind of like, oh, like, you had like more financial stability. I think that'd be the only thing they're like, wish that was there. But then I'm also like, I don't think I'd dwell on it that much.
Or you could only have one parent.
Yeah.
Like, say one of your parents passed away or walked out, and then they were raised with a man and that,
Yeah, true.
and you were the best man that, like, so involved, like, you were great, perfect marriage, like,
Yeah.
and you were like, well, I had an abusive fucking dad, or
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
wasn't that, like, you don't know, like, you know, like, that kind of way. Like, that's what I'm saying, like, comparison is the devil, like.
Yeah, it definitely is. I was just kind of like thinking about like the situation.
But I think even if they were normal Joes, and you'd kind of be listening to stories, like, when she was talking to other family, and you'd kind of be like, Jesus, like, I wonder now if that was me when I was that age, or Jesus, like,
yeah, you'd
you know
be
what I mean?
picturing yourself in them situations for sure.
and she'd be doing the same.
Yeah.
Or which I keep saying she, because the stories are she.
But then it's like, do you find out, like, because obviously I'm an only child, then it's like, do you find out you have a sister, but not really, because you're two strangers who have the same parent, like,
but
in a way.
do you find out you have biological siblings,
oh my god, yeah.
or does she find out she has biological siblings?
Yeah,
like,
actually, I was like,
so it
what?
branches out so much. So
It
she
does.
has, like, basically a whole other family, like cousins, like aunties,
Yeah.
uncles, grandparents, that she doesn't know about, and vice versa. It's like literally swap her out, like.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So if you swap them back, like, you're taking them out of, like, everyone's
Everyone's, yeah.
they're moving into
like cousins you grew up with being your best friends.
It'd literally be like beaming them onto another planet and being like, this is who you're gonna do.
Oh my god, it's such a crazy thing to think.
See, how could you do that at the same time? Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god, yeah, no.
Then again, it's all down to circumstances of how they live. Do you know what I mean?
That's crazy, Jesus Christ. No one ever told me. We had spinning thing about.
I know. But we're gonna wrap up here.
Yeah.
That one was a heavy one to finish on, but it was so interesting. I'm so glad I guessed right.
Yeah, you actually did. I was trying to keep like
that's
a poker
all like
face.
the crime stuff
The crime stuff.
But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe on all of our social medias, our Instagram, our TikToks, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel before you leave. Subscribe. But yeah, and we'll have new TikToks up on the daily with all the clips. But yeah. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.